Welcome to this Sahara 4 exercise. In this exercise, we will analyze the result of one of the declines that we have done in a previous exercise. For that, we will open our Sahara project, and once here, we will go to Tools, Declines, and open one of the previous analysis cases that we had before. So in this case, let's use just the 12 forecast, and let's check on the decline that we did. So we can check on the declines results in two different ways. One of them is by clicking here on report, and here we have a curve that will show in this case the data that we have, the history data that we have, the data source, in this case the history scenario, oil phase, subphase total is going to be plotted here up to the end of the history that is in 2021 in this scenario, in this project. And then here we have the regression. HR in this case is going to be the regression, which as we define in our regression is going to start here in 2004. We can check the date down here to on the left, on the down left here. We can check the date, and we see that it is going to start in January 2004 effectively, and all this is going to be the regression, the values of the regression, the calculated line that is going to be the blue line here, is going to be this column here, and finally the red line, the forecast that we see here, is going to be this other final column up to the end that we defined. In this case, they're going to be the end of the project 2050. So that's going to be the end of this column as well, the forecast. Another way to analyze the results is with this decline parameters table that will show all the information of both the regression and the forecast. Here we have the method. This is going to show the type of declination selected, the start and the end of each phase of each period of either the regression or the forecast. As we see, the regression started in 2004 and it ended in 2021, and the forecast started in 2022 and it ended in 2050, the end of the project. How many days each of the phases encompass, which is the initial rate of each one, which is the initial decline that we have in each case. We see here that we have a much pronunciated decline here for the start of the regression, and then as we move forward, as this is hyperbolic, the B factor is going to slow the decline up to this point where we have a slower decline at the start of the forecast from 47 to almost 50, sorry, almost 5, here in the starting decline of the forecast. Here for the B, we know that as this is hyperbolic and we didn't do any modification on which method we use for the regression, and we didn't do any other change here, the B is always going to be the same. Here we have the final rate of the regression and the final rate of the forecast. We see here that is 11 as we define here. This is the end of the calculated regression, and this is the end here at the end of the project. Is going to be 6.5 for this final date 2050. Here we have the final decline, and here we have three different cumulatives. This one is going to be the cumulative at the start of the phase, in this case the start of the regression, and this is going to be the cumulative at the start of the forecast. This is going to be the total cumulative during the regression and during the forecast. In this case, how much oil we have accumulated from here to here in regression and from here to here in forecast to the end of the project. Here is going to be the cumulative at the end of each phase, in this case at the end of the regression and at the end of the forecast. This is the standard deviation of the fit. Here we have the reason from which the forecast ended. In this case is because we reached the end of the project, T max, so we reached that end of that was defined as the end of the forecast, and this is the date at which that limit was reached. But if we reach the end of the forecast due to, for example, a limit of oil, it will be indicated here, and also we will have the date at which this happened. And here we have the rate at which we have a change in we reach at the end a minimum decline if we are using that option, as we discussed previously. Um, there is an option here that will allow you to use a minimum decline that it will force everything after that to be exponential. So if you're using this option, you will see in this table at the end the rate at which this happened at the time at which this change in decline happened. So those options are also listed here in the report. Finally, this report you can either copy as an image, you can copy it as an image, or you can copy it as a table to the clipboard, so you can export it to, for example, Excel to work with it. So that will be everything for this tutorial, and thank you for watching.